Now Jacob lifted his eyes and looked, and there Esau was coming. Hello and welcome to No Crown in Heaven for Bible knowledge, studying Genesis verse by verse. This is the start of chapter 33. We were in chapter 32 last episode, and I've been reading chapter 33 and going back to chapter 32, back and forth, and chapter 34 and 35, and read chapter 33 like maybe 10 times and studying. Finally, I am coming to realize what God wants to say in this chapter. So we have to go back to chapter 33, the event when a man wrestled with Jacob throughout the whole night. We know Jesus appearing in a human form and wrestling with Jacob all night. Now Jacob knew before that wrestling match that Esau was coming with 400 men. He stayed behind and sent everybody ahead of him. Why did he stay behind? We don't know, but it was a divine appointment that God will meet with him. So he did not go for the wrestling match. Jesus is the one who came to him. We always say, come to Jesus. But the reality is, we don't come to Jesus. Jesus is the one who comes to us. Jesus is the one who came to Jacob and wrestled with him. Jacob is still on the fence. He believed the God of Abraham and Isaac, his grandfather and father. His actions doesn't show it. God appeared to him 20 years earlier and gave him the promise that was given to Abraham and to Isaac. He lived 20 years on his own, and God then appeared to him again and said, now it's time to go back. So he's kind of obeying, and at the same time he's seeing this would be the best because Laban doesn't like me anymore and the situation is not favorable as before. So he flees, and then he sees the angels and say, this is the camp of God. And now Jesus wrestled with him. Right after the wrestling match ends, I will not let you go unless you bless me. What's your name? Jacob. Your name no longer be Jacob, but will be Israel. And we're going to talk about that in this episode a little bit. Jesus touches the socket of his hip, get out of joint, he's limping, and now he's just finished that wrestling match. He just got the blessing and he's coming out. Now he sees Genesis chapter 33. So let's read a few verses from chapter 33 and continue in this. However, you need to go read chapter 32, 33, 34, 35. We're just going to continue the studies this way, but they all need to be read together time after time after time to see what God wants to say in this. So chapter 33 verse 1, now Jacob lifted his eyes and looked, and there Esau was coming, and with him were 400 men. So he divided the children among Leah, Rachel, and the two maidservants. And he put the maidservants and their children in front, Leah and her children behind, and Rachel and Joseph last. Then he crossed over before them and bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother. The only thing in his mind, 2 things. Esau's coming to kill me, and I just want the blessing, the true blessing from God. I got it. I wrestled with him. I saw God face to face, and I got his blessing. And he got God's witness. You wrestled with God and men and prevailed. That's the 2 things that he is in his mind at this second. He crosses over. He come to the front and faces Esau, who threatened to kill him. He sent him messages, I'm coming back. He sent him all these gifts. But Esau's coming with 400 men. The only thing in his mind, he's gonna kill me. Now, between these 2 pieces of information that's controlling his actions, they are totally against each other. Death coming to meet me, and a heavenly blessing that changed my heart. He bows to the ground 7 times. This is a sign of respect. It's not a sign of worship. It's a sign of respect. And it is a custom in this time and this culture when you meet a king, because Esau now is a king. He is a king of the Edomite. The Edomites will come from his offsprings, but now he became a king in this region, and those 400 men is under his control and his command. So bowing 7 times to the ground, that has nothing to do with worship or anything. If anybody saying now he's compromising, he's bowing down to a human being, that has nothing to do with that. It's just a custom. When you meet a king, out of respect, you do this. And he still doesn't know what Esau's gonna do. Now Esau comes, run to him, embrace him, and kiss him, and the whole story will continue. You need to read that chapter, so that and they will ask him, who all these women and children that with you, and he's telling him, those my children that the God graciously given to me. And they will come each maid servants, and then Leah and Rachel with their children, each woman with her children, and they bow down as a sign of respect to Esau because he's a king. And then Esau tell him, what did all these things? I don't need anything. And he insists that he would receive his gifts. Esau will receive the gifts because also in this culture, you reject the gifts from your enemy. And Esau now wanted to make peace, so he would receive the gifts. And then the chapter will continue. Now, regarding Esau, was he really coming to embrace him and kiss him and welcome him back, or was he coming with the intention of harm and God changed his mind on the way? We don't know. The Bible never tells us his intention when he was heard. I was with Laban all this time until now. I'm coming back and I'm asking for your favor. That's what the messengers told Esau, and then they came back to Jacob. Esau's coming with 400 men. What Esau's intention from the beginning, we don't know. But it appears that he was coming with intention to harm because of the 400 men that was with him, and God changed his heart on the way by the gifts that he was receiving, by the bowing and respect that Jacob showed him, by the language that Jacob told his servants to tell Esau, my Lord, and it's a lower L. Lord was a lower L. It's not a capital L. This is like a title. Has nothing to do with God. So all that may have softened Esau's heart on the way. One more thing to consider here. Esau vowed to kill Jacob because he took the blessing, stole the blessing from him. But the blessing in Esau's mind is completely different than the blessing that Jacob received from Jesus. A complete different. Even the blessing from Isaac itself, it's not about materialism, it's not about wealth, it's not about being prosperous. All that is included in the blessing, but it's more important, and the main thing in that blessing is God's promise. Your descendants will inherit this land, and in your descendants all the nations of the earth will be blessed. So that is the true blessing, or the core of that blessing. All the wealth and the prosperity is just a part of it, but it's not the core of it. However, with Esau, his idea about the blessing was all about wealth, prosperity, and control, and fame, and power. It was not about God's promise. The Bible said that thus Esau despised the birthright. So he despised God's promise. So now Esau's coming back to meet Jacob, who's coming back from this 20-year journey. He's already got all that blessing that he was looking for. So Jacob stealing that blessing from him didn't really harm him anything in his mind. He lost the core of that blessing of, in your descendants, all the nations of the earth will be blessed. He lost that because he despised it and rejected it. All the blessings that he was in his mind, he already have now. So I didn't really lose anything by Jacob stealing that blessing from me. I got everything I want. So that was also a part of him not doing any harm to Jacob. You can have that blessing that you're talking about. I don't care about it. I got what I want. That's part of it, part of the complex of all these events. So now we're going to talk about that meeting, the both meetings for Jacob meeting the wrestling match with Jesus and meeting with Esau. So as I said, Jacob did not go to God and wrestle with him, give me the blessing. Jesus is the one who came to him and wrestled with him and touched the socket of his hip, and then finally blessed him. Your name shall not be longer Jacob, which means splendor, or a person illegally and wrongly and illegally taking a possession of another, but Israel, prince with God. So Jesus is the one who came to Jacob. We talk, come to Jesus, as I was talking, come to Jesus, but in reality, Jesus is the one that he comes to us. So let's find that out in the scripture also. Revelation 3:20, clear. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and open the door, I will come into him and dine with him and he with me. Jesus is the one who's coming to the door of your life, of your heart, of your house, and knocking. Behold, I stand at the door and knocking. It gives the implication of keep knocking, keep waiting for you to open that door. It's not And no answer. Okay, I'm just gonna go to the next one. No. The implication, behold, I stand at the door and knock, and knock, and knock, and knock. Jesus is the one who's coming to us, not us who are going to him. Same way with Jacob. He did not go search for that blessing that he never knew about. Jesus came to him. The blessing of the change of heart, the change of his name. And we just don't go to Jesus and say, what do you have for me? What blessing you have for me? What salvation do you have for me? He's the one who comes to us, offer us the salvation, and offer us that change of life, and we open the door and receive it. Now, the second meeting Esau. So Jacob was staying behind because he really wanted to figure things out. He wanted to have some time by himself, what I do, how I can handle this, or we don't know why he stayed behind. It's a divine appointment, but he stayed behind. Everybody is going ahead of him, and he's in the very back. And now he meets with Jesus, and he gets the blessing, and then he crosses over and goes all the way to the front, bow 7 times, and meets Esau. It reminds me of David meeting Goliath. Because he has encounter with God in the past of killing the lion and a bear, and knowing that it was only God who made him kill the lion and the bear, is the one who's gonna make him win the battle with Goliath. He said, the God who helped me to kill the bear and the lion will deliver this man into my hands. So the God, so he had the encounter with God, and now he has to face Goliath, trusting into that. Jacob here probably in the same scenario. Just have the wrestling match with Jesus, have the blessing, have the change of heart, the change of his name, becoming a prince with God, and now he stepped and cross over to become all the way in the front and faces Esau, not knowing what Esau's intention, but this was a complete trust of the outcome, without knowing what the outcome would be. Even if he was dead and was killed, he just knew God has blessed him. Bottom line. The other point I wanted to make about this study here, the name Jacob and the name Israel. When God changed Abraham to Abraham, changed his name, the Bible switched from saying Abraham to Abraham, and never mentioned the name Abraham after God changed Abraham's name. It continued to say Abraham, 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 When God changed Saul's name to Paul, it never went back to call him Saul. It always called him Paul. When Jesus changed Simon's name to Peter, it always continued to mention him as Peter. Only one or two occasions he was called Simon, because going back to his old actions. Here, the Bible continued to call Jacob Jacob after he was changed, his name was changed to Israel. And a lot of preachers, commentaries, or studies say the Bible will mention him by the name Jacob when he's acting in his old nature, mentioning him as Israel when he's acting with his new nature, or when he's acting with his old self and new self. And that is not the case here, because in some cases it's mentioning Jacob and Israel at the same passage. We don't know why the Bible continued to call him Jacob in many places, and then in a fewer places call him Israel. Did he live godly after his name was changed? Yes, for the most part. We're not going to read too much into it because the Bible did not give us clear indication why it kept calling him Jacob. So just read the Bible as the Bible speaks for itself. It's the same person. God changed him. And in Hebrews 11, the 5th chapter, he is mentioned. By faith, Jacob, when he was dying, blessed each of the sons of Joseph and worship leaning on the top of his staff. So he's mentioned among the patriots, among the heroes of the faith. So he has been changed by God. Jesus came to him and he has been changed. But why the Bible continued to call him Jacob, even here in Hebrews, then by faith Israel blessed Joseph's sons. No, it's like by faith Jacob. I don't have explanation for it, and we don't need to just read the Bible as it speaks for itself, and we probably will know later when we go to heaven. So continue to read chapter 33 to the end. It talks about all the details of the meeting with Esau, receiving the gifts, accepting the gifts, Esau offering to continue the journey with Jacob and his family as kind of protection And Jacob told him, no, we're going slow and you just go, thank you. You just read the passage. And then Esau will offer to leave some of the men with them, and Jacob will decline. And so Esau will leave with all his 400 men, and Jacob will make his journey. So Jacob, in this situation, he just wanted to have that issue behind his back. He didn't want to have any loose ties or anything that tie him to Esau. He wanted to just give him the gifts. We are at peace. The same as Laban. They made a covenant. You don't come to me and I don't come to you, because we hate each other, or we cannot agree, or you treated me bad and that's enough. Just you go your way, I go to my way. Same way here. He didn't want to have any thing happening, oh, your men are protecting me. He didn't want to have any favor from Esau. He just wanted the thing to be done with. The second thing is he wanted to have his freedom to choose where he wants to go. Because when you read the passage, it implies that he would have to go with him to where Esau lived. But that's not what Jacob wanted to do. Verse 14, Jacob speaking, please let my Lord go on ahead before his servants. I will lead on slowly at a pace which the livestock that go before me and the children are able to endure, until I come to my Lord in Seir. So that's where Esau lived. But in reality, that's not where Jacob went. So Esau will agree, will leave, and obviously Jacob will never show up, and everybody's like, I have my life, you have your life, that's it. So that is the conclusion until verse 17. It says, and Jacob journeyed to Succoth, built himself a house and made booths for his livestock. Therefore the name of the place was called Succoth, which means booth. So he didn't go to Seir where Esau lived. And then many years will come, and until verse 18, he's going to move again to Shechem. We're going to go to that part in next episode, and what happened in Shechem, and the story of Dinah, his daughter, being raped and all that. So we're going to discuss that in next episode. See you next time. Please subscribe, and God bless you.